Nothing on this show is authorized by the Food and Drug Administration, and nothing said here is intended to treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease. Contact your physician before starting a diet or exercise regimen, including supplementation. This is not medical advice and is for entertainment purposes only.
Such a fucking good intro.
Yeah, dude. Makes you want to do drugs. Not that I know anything about that.
What kind of drugs would you do with a song like that?
Something sleepy.
Whippets.
Yeah, I guess. Well, they'd be like, well,
You can get it in all kinds of 3D surround sound with that.
oh, man. Welcome back to the Supp podcast. That's a weird intro.
Yeah.
But it's just me and Joey today, so we're going to get weird today.
We got no guest, but we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
A lot going on. A lot that's been going on. And yeah, thought it'd be a cool day to just come in and sort of recap everything that's been happening and just kind of vibe on it. So that's today's episode. We're going to be talking a little bit about, well, one thing I want to get into right now.
Do I get to interview you about this?
No, I want to talk about your thing.
Oh, my thing?
Your thing.
All right, fine.
So recently, Joey was interviewed at the, what was it?
Supply Side Connect.
Why do they call it that?
Because calling it Supply Side East was weird, I guess.
In Supply Side West?
Well, now that's Supply Side Global.
I'm confused.
Yeah. Well,
Hopefully they figure it out because I'm confused. Anyway, there at that show, you were interviewed about the, first of all, the Future Nutra Foundation. You
Yep.
guys published your first round of studies. Which is
well,
really cool.
round of testing.
Sorry, testing.
You want to cover that first?
Yeah, I'm an idiot. Don't forget.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting because we did electrolyte testing, which, I mean, everyone's making fucking electrolytes now, right?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that you did that first.
Well, I did it because it should be easy.
For you or for everyone?
For anyone who's manufacturing those products, it's actually a pretty easy product to manufacture. You're mixing sugars, salts, flavors. Should be easy. But when it started, I kind of had an idea in mind of how people could fuck that up. Because, you know, it was really just like a litmus test of like, okay, we're going to pick what we thought were like the top brands, you know, like some of the best of us. And like theory, everyone should pass. Unless you make some of these crucial mistakes. I don't know, they're crucial mistakes. I mean, like, I don't know, anyone could make them. But, you know, I knew where the pitfalls would be. And we tested 15 brands. And only 2 of them failed. And like one of the things that I said in my interview was like, you know, it's really not as bad as it seems because you have all these other companies that are like, you know, we tested 50 products and 49 of them failed except for ours, which that's cool for your brand, but it doesn't look good in the industry.
There's so many things that are wrong with that. I like what you're doing because there are and you know this, and I'm sure people listening to this, there are some very litigious nonprofits out there that use the guise of being a nonprofit and have these websites and make it seem like they're doing all this greatness for the world. And then they go and test all these products just to go and shake brands down, essentially.
And either there's some sort of class action lawsuit that follows or a change in policy, which is currently going on in California.
It doesn't seem like they care about that.
Ever since that one company that I think they're a nonprofit, they tested a whole bunch of proteins, most of them being vegan.
And it became national news.
And then, so the problem with that round of testing was they were testing for heavy metals. And most of those proteins were vegan proteins. And what do you know? They suck up the groundwater, and with the groundwater comes heavy metals. So anything that comes out of the ground is going to have heavy metal content. And for the ones that weren't vegan proteins, they were chocolate flavored. There were a few cases where there was a vanilla flavor whey protein, nothing coming from the ground. Okay, those passed, shockingly enough. But if it was like a chocolate weight gainer, you can imagine how much cocoa is in that thing. And there's going to come heavy metals with that. But if you've got like a blend of pea and rice and watermelon seed protein all put together and it's chocolate flavored, you've got a heavy metal shitstorm on your hands. And there was extreme bias when it came to that testing. And now the state of California is proposing to put certain heavy metal limits, kind of like Prop 65. But now there are testing requirements for proteins that are being proposed in the state of California because of that testing that happened, which you could say that they're trying to do, consumers better and the industry better, but there's also a lot of common sense that comes with that. You got to know what you're doing. And maybe what needs to happen is like there could be some changes when it comes to the production of these things or the type of water that's being used, or maybe everyone just goes hydroponic and we never worry about heavy metals again.
Sounds expensive.
It's not easy. It's not as easy as planting something in the ground and letting it grow.
Sounds expensive.
Well,
that would all be good and fine and all if it wasn't a shakedown.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was like, hey, we tested this and here's the reason why we think it's bad and this is how we think we can help it and help everybody else do it. Instead, they don't do that. They say, you did bad, so now we sue. And or if you
can pay us for a label certification.
Yeah, we can consult for you for the same amount that we would sue you for. And it's like, oh, so this is about money.
Yeah. In a lot of cases, it is. There's organizations where it's like if they do catch you, they come to you and they're like, well, you have to do this and change your ways, and then you can get our badge of approval on your label, which really doesn't mean much of anything.
Yeah, great. I would love your badge.
We're not
just to remind me of all the money I had to pay you.
We're not doing that.
It's silly. So yeah, I think it's cool what you're doing. Yeah, electrolytes, I was a little surprised by that, but I guess it's a little easier for everybody. First of all, like kind of doing your first round of testing with these, not that these testing clinics are new to this at all. They've been doing it for a while, but
oh yeah,
there's not a lot
Even the test method is cheap.
Right, exactly. So it's like, it's not a huge cost on them because
they donate it to the nonprofit.
Right. So it's a good thing to kind of start with. Just be like, hey, this is easy. It's not super expensive.
Yeah. And it should have been just easy softball for pretty much everyone. And it was for pretty much everyone. But there were two that stood out, and they were two very different stories as far as how they messed up. And like looking at it forensically, there was one brand who just had a homogeneity issue. They were low on one mineral, they were high on another one. And if the blender had done like a couple more rotations or a couple less rotations, they would have been fine. And
so it's like a blend timing issue, probably.
It was exactly that, a blend timing issue. So how much time and rotations that thing takes in the blender.
So there's another tub somewhere probably that had reverse.
It's quite possible, but according to the lab results that we had, it was consistent between those two.
Did you get two different lots sent to them or the same lot?
We did all the same lot. We did two different labs. And then we took an average of the high and the low between those labs, and that established our margin of error.
Okay.
So
it's crazy that two different labs, I understand that they would have different results, but to me, it's just kind of wild that they do.
But they're not that different. They weren't that different. And like, it could be test, or it could be how the sample's prepared, or it could be a difference in test methodology. But I mean, we were pretty streamlined on the test methodology. So it might have been sample preparation. Maybe it was concentrated. Maybe it was diluted. There could have been a lot of different ways in how that was calculated.
What about like the calibration of the machines that are testing them?
That's another factor.
Yeah, I always wonder about that.
But they usually calibrate before they run any kind of test.
Yeah. And they're running it off of like an index that they have.
Yeah.
Some standardization of index that they have.
Usually established by USP, United States Pharmacopoeia.
Okay.
So, or FDA's probably got some sort of regulation on how things are tested as far as like minerals are concerned. But yeah, the first guy, it was just a homogeneity issue. Like obviously you're high in one, you're low in another. It's a blend time thing. The second one though was not a blend time thing because they were low and they were way too, the other levels weren't high enough to justify for the deficit in the other one, which means it was a type of mineral citrate, and mineral citrates come in three different forms. There's mono, there's di, and there's tri. So you could have monosodium citrate, disodium citrate, trisodium citrate, and the ratio of the mineral to the citric acid is different in each one of those. So probably in formulation, it was established that, we were going to have, sodium citrate in here and we wanted this much sodium. And they were like, well, that's okay. That's the number and everything that you're looking for. And therefore you need this much of a manufacturing input. But when it came to manufacturing, maybe the original formulation was based its calculations on like a trisodium citrate, and they only had like a mono or a disodium citrate. And that's why no matter what they could have done, they would have never hit the label claim.
You know, it's funny that happens quite a lot, especially on our end where like we're doing stuff and we're going like making a label look cool is the easy part. It's the back and forth going with the co-man, trying to get those little numbers and that panel dialed in. And so many things change, and usually it happens, you know, at the last minute, but like it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's always stuff like that. It's like, oh, well, we had this, but when we first did it 6 months ago, when we first talked to you and we quoted everything, but we now have this instead. And so we're going to use this. And somewhere along the way,
But
somebody
that has to
forgot.
get translated to someone like you. So this could have been a label issue. Maybe it was a label issue, but they had labels done. The labels went to print, and then the manufacturing found on the back end, oh, we've only got monosodium citrate.
Let's just throw that in there.
And then, they're putting quote unquote sodium citrate, as the label states, in there. Mm-hmm. It's just not got the right specification. So like creating internal specifications on every single ingredient that you have going into manufacturing is an absolute must. Because if you don't, and you deviate and you use the wrong one, and you don't match what the label says,
You'd be surprised on how many companies do not have specification sheets. They just have.
I wouldn't be, because I know most of them don't.
Yeah. And
But I thought out of the ones that we picked that they would.
yeah, maybe. I think they rely on their co-mans to kind of have that. And then they probably have somebody internally, hopefully, that's sort of auditing it.
Well, and it's not necessarily the fault of like the disconnect between label and the guys in manufacturing, or the formulator and guys in manufacturing. The guys who do like production and procurement might not know that there's a goddamn bit of difference between monodi and trisodium citrate.
Happens.
And they're just like, sodium citrate checks the box.
Yeah.
So there's things that can get lost in that translation between all these different parties. Then all of a sudden, boom, there you go.
Put the wrong thing on the label and the wrong thing comes out in the blend, or vice versa.
And then somebody like me goes and fucking tests it.
Yeah.
And I don't like delivering bad news. Like, I didn't like delivering any of this bad news. And that was the other thing that we did, is we reached out to these companies and we let them know.
Yeah. How does that sound like? You're not shaking them down, are you?
I'm not shaking them down. I'm like, hey, we tested your stuff and it didn't meet. What do you want to do about this? And
What
really,
type
like,
of response are you expecting out of something like that? Sorry? What do you say?
I don't know.
Who are you?
I've like
Weird Mohawk man?
It could be weird Mohawk man. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But you gotta, if someone's coming to you and they're like, hey, I tested your stuff at 2 different laboratories and you're failing your label claim, you would think that would be like kind of helpful.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to know?
Yeah.
Did they know?
Yeah, I would like to know. If I didn't know, I'd be probably pretty pissed if I did know.
And
then
that's
somebody
that's where this conversation gets a lot more interesting. Like, did they not know? And if they didn't know, why didn't they know? Were they not doing testing of their finished product?
Yeah. Well, some people sometimes just send it, man.
Yeah.
There's a major brand that sells in a major retailer that we did something for, something simple. It was like Amazon listing images. And I was just sitting there making their stuff, and they'd sent me over a label, and I was making the images, and I just looked at the net weight, and I was like, man, none of this adds up. What's going on here?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, I got the tub. Let me go weigh it. And I went and weighed it, and it was off by like 200 grams.
Low or high?
It weighed more than what it was.
I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like, oh, you got a bonus. They weren't lying on their label claim. They met the minimum requirements, and that's kind of like what this is.
Well, we don't know.
What?
You don't know if they did or didn't. It's not like I sent it in a test. All I knew is like it was like 170 grams heavier than what it was supposed to be, and that means what's
I'm just talking about solely in regard to net weight.
Yeah, but what's weird is like the scoop size and dosing.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So that means that what you're putting on the label is kind of different than what the actual scoop was. And I weighed the scoop, and the scoop wasn't the same as what was on the label.
And there's a lot of variability on scoops and how the scoops are calibrated by each individual manufacturer versus consumer behavior and how that works.
Yeah, like heaping scoop, flat scoop, crap like that.
Fluffy powder, packed and level powder. I'm a packed and level guy. That's how I calibrate scoops. That's how I expect people to take their supplements. Packed and level.
Well, it just kind of blew my way that they just sent it, and it's like at a major retailer.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone on the other end even knew.
That's why we're doing this with the nonprofit. So like you reach that fork in the road of, did you know? And if you did know, you went ahead and did it anyway. Or if you didn't know, why didn't you know? So either you did the testing and you knew and you did it anyway, or you didn't know because you didn't do the testing, and neither one of them is a really good scenario.
But making it public like that now kind of forces their hand to correcting it, which is a good thing.
That's exactly the point. Yeah. That's why we reach out to these people.
Yeah, and you didn't have to shake them down and ask them for money or.
And I wasn't here to ask like, did you know? Did you not know? And like really like point fingers and stuff and be like, you need to change this. Yeah. That's all I'm just going call in and be like, look, this is out of spec. You need to fix it. And working with them on fixing it if they want to do that. But I don't expect them to pay me. You know, I am just the messenger of the news, but you know, I would think that they would want to address it at some point or some way.
Yeah.
And both of the companies discontinued those products. So that's actually a good thing. And they reformulated, they even changed manufacturers in some cases, and they've got new products in the market. And I am not opposed to doing like a redemption shot and buying those and testing those.
That'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
And give them the opportunity to sort of.
A future neutral redemption shot.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I think that'd be great too. It would show that the process works. Okay, that's really what is the point of the whole thing.
Also, it's like everyone would go to something like that expecting a bunch of juicy news, but really out of 15, 2 failed. So you had 13 people flying colors. So like that's actually pretty awesome.
That's actually really awesome.
It's boring.
Well, it's not like it's really grabbing headlines like those crazy articles. Like we tested them and like 95% of products failed.
Yeah, that's not going to get national news. We tested them and most of them passed.
Well, we are the top story on NutriIngredients.com today, but
that's
however
pretty
long
cool.
that's going to last.
That's pretty cool. You and your badass suit.
Well, the headline was, it's not as bad as the media makes it seem.
Yeah.
Which is true, because there are a lot of people out there doing things the right way. I visit several of these facilities, and you can tell that these people really have their shit together. And none of them are really proud enough to be like, tooting their horn about it. Except for on cannabis testing. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. So next is cannabis.
Yeah, that's the next round.
Why?
Well, because I enjoy cannabis beverages. I'm not big on alcohol, and I thought it would be really cool. But you think supplements are bad? Like,
no, I mean, I've always wondered about, I used to work in cannabis before I did supplements.
Sure.
And I've explained this before, but there's like an illicit market and there's like a legitimate market. But sometimes those like behind the scenes are intertwined in these companies that are owned by the same people. And so they're kind of sourcing the same stuff. They're just kind of.
Or companies that are owned by all kinds of different people, but they're sourcing their cannabinoids from similar places.
Right. That's what I mean.
And doing like the forensic diagnosis on that, there are so many variables that go into that, way more than doing this electrolyte testing.
Well, exactly. You just see on the package, it says certain percentage of THC or CBD or something like that.
It says in milligrams. Every one of them does.
Yeah.
Every one of them has a QR code that goes to the test results whenever they first came off the line. But when you look at that with a fine-tooth comb, you see all kinds of different things start to throw the red flags.
Like what?
Like the packaging doesn't match on the C of A that they sent in for testing versus the actual finished
product. Well, that's kind of what
packaging.
I'm getting to of what I had to do when I was doing it. I was like, hey, aren't these supposed to mean something? And sometimes they would just be like, shut up, label monkey, put this number on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I see that this is baseless and it's probably old data or some other data that you use that you're pulling from something else, or not even something that you even own. You're just using other people's stuff.
Well, when you can take your phone, you can scan a QR code on a can. It takes you to a certificate of analysis. You can even match it to the lot number. But something happened between that point in time and the time that it got to me. And we don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that could have happened. Like whatever emulsion this thing is might not be stable in an acidic solution. There's something with the can liners, because a lot of these are like liposomal type materials, and those things will actually stick to the inside of the cans. In some cases, absorb into the can liners themselves.
What about the actual administration?
What do you mean the administration?
Like how they're putting the THC into the beverage at what step?
That probably has a huge impact on it.
And like how is it being administered?
Because most of these things are liquid materials. So like at what point in the manufacturing line is this squirted into your can?
Yeah. Is there like a squirt guy who just sitting there doing drops, or is there like
I think it's a squirt robot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of these small time brew houses,
Just put it all in one big batch.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you don't, these craft breweries, for example, like you ever been to, I'm sure you've been to a
yeah.
couple. Yeah. I mean, it's like homies working there, you know? And it's not like they have a bunch of robots and machines, you know, they've probably got like a canning line and then they kind of just find a way to figure out how to make a beer.
Well, I mean,
and these are a lot of the boutique brands that are making the cannabis stuff.
well, they're sold in Total Wine and More.
Yeah.
We literally went into Total Wine and More, saw that there were like 30 brands in there, and we had already made our list, but there were like 5 that we had to modify because like, I'm just going to buy them right here. I'm going to buy them right here as any consumer would. And I'm going to just fill my cart. And we got 4 cases of each because we had to, well, no, I think we had 6 cases of each because we had 4 labs that did the testing. And then we had to keep some for retains just in case something happens or somebody wants to sue us and be like, well, we don't have a lot of that. And be like, I got one.
Yeah. And you were like, Hunter S. Thompson, one for the doctor.
I wish. No, like there were several times where like
I remember seeing them at your house. It's like, that's a lot
we
of
still
cans.
have them.
They're just like sitting there.
Don't really know what to do with them.
It looks really
They
suspicious.
are retains for a future date and time in case anyone just decides to get upset with us. And then we'll test them again.
Yeah. You're going
And
to
it'll probably be lower than it was whenever we tested it the first time.
you're gonna have to get like a temperature controlled storage unit to start storing all this stuff because it's gonna get a lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
it is going to get a lot. Like we've already prepared the lion's mane testing, and that's a lot. It's 25 products. So the next 2 rounds coming up are 25 products each. So the first one was 15. That was just a little
That's
icebreaker,
a
and we're
lot.
doing more and more. Especially when you have to get 6 different copies of each one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Damn.
So
Lions Mane. What after that? What's all in the pipeline? What are you thinking?
we're doing 3 by the conference. We'll do 1 after.
You gonna keep that one a secret?
We haven't really decided. We're gonna go at a rate of about 4 a year, like once a quarter,
Okay.
and we're just gonna keep on chugging. And it's kind of concerning because like there are things that I've seen in the marketplace for like a really long time where I'm like, that's a giant gaping hole there. Like,
You should do She Legit.
I've already had a lot of conversations about Shilajit. And there's even banned substances in Shilajit that you wouldn't believe. And,
Really?
And how they get there would be even more bizarre. So yeah, there's plenty about Shilajit that's just
It'll come from the sweaty rocks.
it comes from the sweaty rocks. But how it like gets there is like even more bizarre. It's almost like the heavy metal kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, like we're going to be doing this testing probably for a foreseeable future, doing 4 rounds a year. I've got my targets set on a few things where, especially in like sports nutrition, where there's some seriously low hanging fruit, where there's been this ingredient that's been used for a really long time and no one's ever like blown the bullshit flag on this. And there's like, especially when it comes to certain botanicals that people are claiming botanicals that are not botanicals. You know,
I
like
think I know what you're talking about.
yeah, like that's surely an obscure plant from an obscure jungle on an obscure island that has this compound in it, and everyone's labeling it this way. There's no way that obscure island with that obscure plant has a commercial operation growing that much materials to service this entire industry.
So what is it?
Something else,
Yeah.
and that's the truth of the matter on that.
I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, I mean, all these are creating some really cool stories. And
We could make documentaries about all these.
dude, in some cases, it's even inspired me as far as like developing ingredients or products where I'm like, I've learned some hard lessons from this test or this test. So we're going to create something that actually uses a lot of this technology, but in the right way, instead of, just doing it haphazardly.
How many people know about it though, without going and doing all this sort of?
The testing labs are pretty familiar with it.
It's like muck raking, but for good.
I'm trying to, because there is a way to improve on all this, and that's like the real story that's behind it. Like where we find these gaping holes, we have to find solutions, and especially with lion's mane. Lion's mane's got some big gaping holes, and we're gonna try to cover as many of them as we can.
Gosh, you could do all the different. What is that? We forgot Ed's on the mic and he has his camera alarms.
Will you explain to the people what just happened, Ed?
Have an alarm to restart camera.
This is the first time Ed has vocalized himself on camera.
He's not on camera.
But he's a shadowy voice.
Ed's our producer, and he works here at Nutrimedia, but he's also on the Suppworks podcast, and we gave him a mic tonight. So what's up, Ed?
What's up?
What do you think of this crazy shit about testing?
Can you explain to me the process of testing?
Which one?
So, for example, the cannabis.
Yeah.
What do you do? What are the steps? Why would a third-party person be sure that you're doing the right testing?
Because we're working with 4 of the top cannabis testing labs in America. And coincidentally, I randomly met this guy when I was on my way to Phoenix, Arizona from Supply Side out in Vegas. And I was driving to Phoenix to go flavor Kylie Jenner's K2O products, which launched last week. Go to drinksprinter.com to find out more. So me and my wife decided we were going to stop over in Arizona, or in Sedona, because I'd never been, and I hear about the spiritual portals and all that stuff. And we go and did a microdose of psilocybin going up this thing, and it was I forgot what it's called, like some Chapel Rock or was something like that, but it's one of the main portals. And I go up this thing, and I'm just like getting my ass kicked because it's a mile walk, and you're like, oh, it's not bad. It's just a mile. It's vertical. It's vertical mile. And
I would have loved it.
it was really cool when you get to the top and you're overlooking this portal, and all of a sudden you're overcome with this feeling of bliss. And I don't know if it was because I wasn't climbing vertically anymore. It's because it was an actual portal. But either way, it worked.
Had nothing to do with the psilocybin.
Maybe, who knows? Who knows? But anyway, we start crawling down from this thing, crawling out of the portal. And there's this random fucking guy walking on the rocks. And he asked us about the trail that we're on. He's like, what's that one? And how far is it? And we're like, it's a mile, vertical. It's pretty easy, I guess. And he's like, well, I've already done 15 miles. And I'm just like, how the fuck has this guy done 15 miles on foot in the Sedona Desert? And he's like, where y'all coming from? Vegas. Oh, yeah? What are we all doing out there? We're at a trade show. Oh, yeah? Supply side? Yeah.
How do you know?
And he's like, yeah, I was just there too. And I'm like, wait a minute. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Get over here. It's like, do you know who the fuck I am? I need to know who you are.
Yeah.
And he tells me, he's like, my name is Yasha. And it was like, well, what do you do? And he's like, I run a third-party analytical testing lab. And I'm like, tell me more. We have a nonprofit. That's kind of what we do. Mm. And he's like, well, we really are just like in the cannabis business and stuff. But, you know, we do a lot of testing, and there's a lot of fraudulent stuff. There's a lot of messed up things going on. And I was like, how about we do a round with you? And from a random occurrence that was going on in like the Sedona Desert, meeting this guy who ran this testing laboratory, I thought all that was pretty serendipitous.
For sure. It's awesome. That's how most things good happen.
I mean, it's hundreds of miles away from Supply Side, hundreds of miles away from where I was going. But this random guy who had just walked 15 miles came there and met me and figured this out.
It was like it was meant to be. It was his sabbatical.
Oh, my God. Maybe. But apparently he does little activities like this with all the trade shows that he goes to. So, you know.
We try and do stuff like that too.
It wasn't even 6 months later. It was like 3 months later. Yeah, he was out there getting lore like we do.
Nice.
So it was like 3 or 4.
So he's one of us.
He is one of us. And
right on.
3 or 4 months later, we're sending stuff off for testing.
Sorry.
And he knew like, you know, 3 other labs. And he's like, let me get some of my other people on. And we'll have a talk about this. And, you know, there was one lab that I believe was like excluded from it because their testing methodology was really weird because they took the drink and then they reduced it. And when you reduce a liquid, what do?
You separate it from things.
You heat it up until it steams and you lose liquid.
Well, that's the separation.
And you shrink it down.
So you lose stuff to evaporation.
His test results were kind of all over the place. Some were high, some were low, and some were like egregiously high. But when you're dealing with things that are fat soluble, like cannabinoids, they're not going to vaporize off into the air when the water does. So you end up concentrating it And then like
So you're yielding higher results.
yeah,
than you
per
probably might
capita,
intend.
you've got way more cannabinoids than you're supposed to. So it's not an accurate sampling way.
Well, that's just silly.
It is silly, but you know, there's sillier shit that's going on.
So on your interview, you also talked a little bit about FNIS. So this is something we've been kind of working on for a while behind the scenes, but now I think it's time to start talking about it. We've sort of mentioned it on the podcast a couple of times loosely, but it's real now. There's no going back. You signed the paperwork, so
We paid them a lot of money.
yeah, there you go. So no going back.
Yeah. No, we're in this. We set up this show because we've gone to a lot of shows. And nothing against those shows, but we feel like that there could be a way that we could do this in a more engaging kind of fashion.
Can I go on a rant?
By all means, go on your own.
All right. I fucking don't like going to shows anymore.
Why, TK?
And a lot of it has to do with, and I apologize to who this offends, but like fucking ingredient companies, man, they just fucking ruin them for me. They ruin them for me.
Why?
Because they got a ton of money and they throw it around at these things. It's the most boring shit ever, the way that they market it, to be honest with you.
Yes.
They usually somehow reach out to me in some fashion or form to try and help them. And they're always really fucking stubborn about anything that's like really innovative or cool. But it's like, that's what you're supposed to do is innovation and cool.
Yeah, you got to show that off.
They're kind of like stiffs about it. So it's like really hard to help them. And then they never want to value that type of work because they put all their money into like their intellectual property and their legal and then also their innovation, their science, which is great.
But the marketing of ingredients is directly correlated with their ability to sell.
I know.
Yeah.
They don't, and they know that, but they still will be like, we don't want to spend money on that. But the moment that you actually use their ingredient from my end, from my perspective, because I have to use their fucking logos all the damn time on these things. I have to use their TLAs. I have to put their ingredients on the supplement packs panel. They are a ghost town. You can never get a hold of them to get any sort of support after the ingredient
There's a broken thing in the process.
Yeah, and I've gone on this rant a couple times on this podcast. I know.
Yeah.
I did it for what was it?
I don't know. But
No. It was somebody unsuspecting, the cognizant people.
oh yeah, because it was a trademarked ingredient.
Yeah, and it's just, man, they make it such a pain in the butt for their customers who buy the thing to like actually put it on their packaging in any sort of way that's useful, and then they end up kind of like stealing the whole show, and it's all like you're just doing all this work to protect their intellectual property, like we're supposed to give a shit, like the customer really is supposed to give a shit, when really customers just don't really care that much. It's the
When
R&D.
consumers don't.
Consumers.
Yeah.
Consumers don't really care whether it's cognizant or some other type of nootropic ingredient, you know.
Some do. I mean, Cognizant's gotten a lot of fame lately.
Yeah, a fractional percent. But
Yeah.
you're telling me everyone that buys Ghost Energy gives a shit that if it was that or if it was Cognitique or whatever, some other ingredient. I don't know. They probably wouldn't care. They would still buy it.
Yeah.
As long as it still tasted the same and would cost the same.
And had the same amount of caffeine.
At the same, exactly. So you'd go through all these hoops for them to buy their crap, and they're super proud, and they have all this money. And then you like really want to help them. Like some of them actually have some really innovative stuff, and you really want to see that like become more popular. And then you're met with like a brick wall of people who just like,
No,
yeah.
no, we can't do that.
But yet they kind of own the trade show sort of world because they spend the most money there. So to me, it's just really fucking annoying and kind of boring, to be honest with you. It just bores the crap out of me. And me going as like an art and packaging guy, I love talking about that kind of stuff. And it's kind of an exciting part. People love talking about that stuff. People love the art marketing part.
I think you're a breath of fresh air at those shows because,
yeah.
you know, there's not that many packaging guys there.
No, and it's a lot of fun to do that. But the moment you get in like ingredient quarter, ingredient land, which they definitely like segment stuff out.
Yeah.
I literally just want to blow my brains out. I'm just like, I cannot believe how many slacks are around me right now. Everyone has the same on-cloud shoes and the same blue blazer, you know? Like, y'all are so boring.
I mean, that's why we kind of wear wacky clothes and stuff to that show anyway.
Spice it up. This is a land of powders and all kinds of weird shit. Like, you know, we should celebrate that.
Not take it too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And it just, God, they take themselves very, very seriously and their intellectual properties very, very seriously, which I understand completely. It just kind of kills it for me, kind of makes it really boring. And then I'm like, I don't want to do this with you guys.
What shows would you say you probably hate the most? Well, let's not name shows, but let's just say, like, I don't know. One of the things that bothers me about going to certain shows is they got the venue at the wrong time of year.
Yeah, that is annoying.
It's either in the Rocky Mountains in the summer or it's at the beach in the winter.
Well,
and
some of
it's
the things that I think that, so I'm not a part of FNIS. I'm not a part of Future Nutra, but we definitely have talked about this for a while. I would like to say it was kind of our idea together coming up to doing this, but even though it's happening through your platform, right? Of the Future Nutra Foundation. But one of the first things that when we first started discussing, hey, we should do our own, first of all, I remember when we talked about it, really, we were in LA.
Yeah.
We were at BevNet. And remember, that was a shit show.
Yeah.
And so we were like, why don't we just do our own thing? BevNet is not huge. There's maybe 1,000 people here. But like the people who run it are kind of being assholes to us. And it just seems all kind of snooty. And we should be out here having fun, which we were actually having fun because we were out doing like extracurriculars. But the actual show itself was kind of like, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I didn't need to have to pay a premium to be in Marina Del Rey. I didn't have to pay a premium. In December, right?
You want to pay a premium to be in Marina Del Rey in December, go ahead.
And pay a premium for food and fuel and flights and everything that comes along with traveling to California. And I was like, where else do we do shows? Remember, I was like, why do we always go to Las Vegas? Like, I don't really care for Vegas.
And people on the East Coast love making that trek.
Yeah.
Or to LA or to any of those other places.
And then the only other places you go sometimes you see shows in Chicago, which is cool. Sometimes you see shows in New Jersey, which I have no interest in really going, even though New Jersey's okay.
I had a bad time.
Yeah, you did. And then you see them in Florida, and I don't know. Every time I go to Florida, just bad stuff happens. So I'm like, why are there?
Ed, do you like Florida?
I love Florida.
Ed and I had a great time in Florida.
Well, Ed's spicy,
Yeah.
He likes that type of vibe. I don't. But why are there no good shows in the South?
Well, I mean, you could argue that, there are some good shows I think ICSB is in the South.
What's that?
It's analytical chemistry.
That sounds boring.
Yeah. I mean, and I've
You just proven my point.
I've been to trade shows like outside of the industry too. I used to go to NASA conferences and stuff all the time, but it was the same song and dance, It was, we're still going to go to the beach in the middle of winter.
Well, what I've come to find is you get most value out of the shows, not necessarily in the room watching the PowerPoint and having the guy, just droll on about some fucking boring shit that puts you to sleep. It's just like being in school again, But I have a lot of good connections and good relationships and good peer-to-peer bonding and collaboration happen after, at the
dinners and
at the
stuff.
dinners and and having drinks, and sometimes you go and do some social event or something like that. And so I was like, those have always turned out to be more beneficial. They've had more ROI.
Yeah.
Because that's where you build a relationship and the guy calls you a week later and then wants to start working with you.
Or like finding a random guy in the fucking desert,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doing extracurriculars,
Yep.
for the lore. So I was like, why aren't shows we could put on a show, we could make it fun because we're fun. We have fun.
Yes.
Anyone who knows us and comes and hangs out with us and does like the podcast or anything, we make it like a whole thing. Like you come down to Nutrimedia or to Conroe and come to the Nutrimedia studio, like
we're going to do stuff.
yeah, I'm not saying it's like super hospitable or we're going to put you up in like a 5-star hotel, blah, 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 but you're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah. You're going to have fun on the show. You're going to do activities. You're going to have dinner. It's going to be great.
Right. And you're going to come out with it being like, man, that was a great time. That was fun. I grabbed some
I don't think anyone's
life
really
experience.
regretted it coming here.
No, never. All of them want to come back.
Yeah.
And I want to recreate that experience for all the industry people who are like like I said earlier, one of us. You
Sure.
know? They're out for the lore.
I think there's a lot more people that are like us that just, want to enjoy themselves while they're at a show like this.
Yeah, because we like to have fun and stuff and do extracurricular stuff, but the entire time we're doing that, we're always talking ideas. Always talking ideas, and that's where our best ideas come forth.
Well, and the whole this really kind of started with like Expo Energy, and when we made a big splash at Supply Slide West at the time, where we made a beverage, we made what was it, like 25,000 or 30,000 of them, and we had them at 6 different trade show floor booths, and everybody was giving it out, and it was free. And we had to break some rules in order for that to happen, you know, because the venue was, didn't want, 16-ounce beverages being given out at these booths because it would take away from drink sales. But there was never any really good energy drink there. And we looked to solve that problem. And we solved that problem in a really cool way by involving manufacturers, ingredient suppliers, packaging suppliers, the whole ecosystem.
That whole experience was opening to me just on how much it all costs for brands to go and do these things. It goes back to kind of like what bugs me about ingredient manufacturers is like, dude, these guys are spending like $100,000 to be here, more. Some spend $500,000, some spend more. And it's like, you don't actually have to spend that much money in order to like activate what you're doing. So like you're paying all this money to Las Vegas Convention Center. You're paying all this money to the GES and all these other logistics companies that do all that stuff. And then Informa is making all this money. It's like, why are you giving them that much? You're giving it's like if you were trying to sell your product at like a 9x markup, or it's like, that's just crazy to me. Like there is a cheaper way to get more bang for your buck in a way where you don't have to spend all this much money and then be super frugal about other the things that actually people actually come for, So to me, it just seems really dumb to spend all that money, and they do it anyways, and they do it every single year. And it's like, there's got to be a better way
to address that. Our booths are cheaper. Our logistics are cheaper. Our attendee tickets are cheaper, and our hotels are cheaper.
Our flights to get here are cheaper
because it's not as far.
The food that you eat here are cheaper. The drinks that you buy here are cheaper.
Everything.
And it's a nonprofit. What does that mean?
That means that a portion of your booth registration and your entire sponsorship package is tax deductible via Future Nutra, which is an X factor that I think was pretty darn clever.
So it just makes perfect sense as to why we should do this. And, the ideas we've floated around, it's going to be a lot, for you to have to pull off.
Oh my God.
And I'm here
already,
to support you.
Getting like the advanced warehouse and all that, the registration systems, the floor plans, all the different stuff. And then the venue itself. Right. We're not going to make a whole lot of money on this.
No.
Because we're going to put a lot into it.
Yeah.
We're going to put a lot into making this like the most value driven show that anybody could go to.
It's a nonprofit. So ideally you spend it all at least in some good way, for the vision of the nonprofit.
And you would expect us to be cheap on a lot of things, but I mean,
it has to cover itself.
Yeah, it'll cover itself,
Yeah.
but we want this to be an incredibly engaging show. And like, I'm looking at like digital signage and stuff, like, and just thinking about buying it on my own dime. And I'm thinking like, if I were to go into a trade show, what would really make me say, wow? Like,
well, I think it's more experiential. Obviously I'm here to help you on the signage and stuff, with the design part. That's kind of what I signed up for, is what will help you with any of the signage and branding and design. That's all stuff we're going to donate. But I want to see something interactive that's like, think of like a comedy show, or, when you go out to do things with your friends and family, when let's say you want to treat somebody to something fun, you're going to.
If any of this has caught your attention by now, you can go to futurenutra.org/FNIS to register your interest. The thing about, all right, so
like I think of that like entertainment is what I'm saying.
Yes, entertaining should definitely be a box that gets checked.
It should be entertaining. Like, it shouldn't be something that you feel like you have to go to for work. And at the same time, it shouldn't also feel like something that you're just using as an excuse to get away to somewhere to have a vacation. It should be both of those things mutually with the ROI that you expect to have. And it shouldn't cost as much money as what people are paying to go to Vegas. It's like, the fuck do you do in Vegas?
Gamble and drink. We don't have gambling. but it is going to be held at a Margaritaville. So if you like to drink,
I mean, it's on the lake, so there's boating activities. Margaritaville itself has.
Let's just talk about the venue first.
It's awesome because we go there all the time.
Yeah. There are 3 pools.
They're like water parks.
It's kind of like a water park.
It's got
a lazy river.
It's got big slides, a big ass lazy river. Every single pool has a walk up bar.
Hot tubs and cabanas.
It's even got like a kid zone.
Yeah. There's like an entire arcade with like childcare and all that kind of stuff.
It's on the lake, so it has multiple restaurants on the campus.
Yeah, there's 3
of the resort. It's a whole resort. And then there's multiple of other like lake activities you can do. There's like a golf.
Yeah, the driving range is literally like hitting balls into the lake.
Yeah, trying to get it onto an island.
Yeah.
There is pickleball. There is putt-putt, and then there's also a golf course, full
18 holes.
And then there's like all kinds of jet ski and boat rentals, and then there's also
and it's all on site.
It's all on site. On site.
And you could just jump in the lake because there's like sandbars right there, and it's actually really cool just to get out there and chill.
Yeah, and the cabanas. So we thought of this idea. It's really cool. They have all these cabanas you can rent out. So like the rooms themselves are like they're like suites. So it's not like a hotel room where you go in and there's just like one bed in a room. Everyone is a suite. So it's a
even single occupancy rooms have a fold out couch.
Yes, there's a living room, there's a bathroom, there's a sleeping room, but you can fold out that couch and comfortably sleep.
So even the rooms with double beds, like technically
people
could sleep like 6 people if you wanted.
Yeah, if you
wanted to get that cozy.
Yeah.
And then there's 32 tiny houses.
The tiny house is what I think is cool because you could host a block party.
Yeah.
Like if brands would do a sponsorship and they would have a booth, brand, either a company or anything, a distributor or ingredient company or brand themselves, they could host their own after party at their own little
tiny house.
And it could be their own theme and their own vibe entirely. So I pictured it like you'd go into one and it's like all the drinkers, the people who are like drinking. And then there's probably, one that's probably the smokers, and they're all doing their thing. And then you go into another one and it's like the
full of Chinese people.
Yeah, like the introverts, but they found a place, and they found a place to kind of vibe with other introverts. And it's probably they're nothing extracurricular is going on, but they're discussing, things that they're really interested about that usually probably if they try to talk to their significant others or somebody back at home, they'd probably be like, oh, whatever, this is interesting to me. But now you've found your people to talk to this about. And yeah, you can go to one.
Or you could just hold business meetings in your tiny house.
You could do your own little mini conference, or you can do your own presentations and stuff in your own tiny house. But this could go on all night,
Yeah.
It could be a party or it could be not a party. It's whatever you want it to be. But there could be a whole block of them where you just sort of like walk down them and say, I want to go hang out with these people and see what they're up to.
I didn't go to your booth, but now I'm here at your tiny house. Why don't you tell me what you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me back in the day when we were in College Station and they would have like, those like neighborhoods that were all like rented out by college students.
Yes.
But then they each have like a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that. And you would just kind of go from one to another. And then,
I wonder what these people are doing.
You would have a whole night of it. Yeah. It reminds me of that.
Yeah. So in addition to the venue and the fun, because like this is going to be held September 9th through 11th. We expect most people to fly in on the 8th. Because we're going to get started bright and early on the 9th. And it is a bit long, and it's 3 days, and you're going to want to get out of there, Thursday or Friday or Saturday. And we've got engaging content set up for all 3 days. And the way that this place, we're only expecting 750 to 1,000 people. Right now, we're in the invite-only phase because the Future Nutra Innovation Summit needs to be innovative, and we're not just going to let anybody come in and do a talk and just mindlessly promote something using a slideshow that they've used 3 other times.
No way.
That's
the stuff I hate.
That is not what we're going to do.
That is exactly what I hate.
What we are going to do is
I don't like those like little talks where like people just sit there and sort of pat themselves on the back with how great they are. And it's like you paid $30,000 for this.
Well, I don't mind that if you've got a real good reason to pat yourself on the back,
Sure.
like that's the kind of like showcase that we're talking about. Like you better be doing some earth-shattering kind of technology.
I want to see some interaction. Like if you're talking about a thing, then we should, as an audience, be able to somehow engage with it.
vocally or through a text message.
I mean, like if you're talking about an ingredient, you should have samples for everyone that's sitting there.
So, okay.
You should have multiple variants of it that kind of showcase how it may get flavored in different ways or used in different formats.
Let me get into that. So another requirement of actually having innovation is that it needs to be interactive in some sort of way. So we're mandating that anyone who comes and, you know, does a presentation, all of them are 30 minutes, that there's some element of show and tell. Like I need to hold something at my seat that really connects with the presentation that's going on. And maybe I can consume that thing and it's experiential, or maybe you're on stage doing a demonstration of like an equipment or something like that where it's like, wow, I'm really seeing this in real time. And it can't just be videos on a PowerPoint. Like it's got to be the real deal, like live in person.
Yeah, it needs some showmanship.
That's the thing about it. It's got to have showmanship.
Yeah.
We have 4 different educational tracks. It was 8 originally. We took those 8 educational tracks and we paired them up with the ones that were the most similar and we squished them together. So we've got 4 educational tracks, but we've got what I would call is like a music festival setup where we've got 8 rooms and each track is going to be bouncing back and forth between a couple of rooms. So, you know, it might be in this room during this time, but it might be in a completely different room the next time. So you kind of have to follow your track amongst these 8 different rooms if you want to stay in that one track. You might end up in a room that you don't expect to end up in for the educational part of it. And that's the thing. We're a nonprofit. Everything has to be educational. It has to be innovative, educational, and interactive. Those are our main 3 criteria. So, you know, you've got to kind of follow along if you want to stay in one track, or, you know, because there's going to be limited space, you might not end up in the track that you want to end up in. And you might end up in one that's completely different, but you might end up finding opportunities to work with people who are in this completely different room, who have questions that are relevant to something that you might do.
I think that's the real important part about all this is when we go and do these shows, and it's usually after hours. For example, like when we were in LA, we went to a baseball game with Tyrus.
Yeah.
I've got no business hanging out with a flavor company, but I was sitting down with the dudes who owned Bucked Up. You know, next to us was like another company that sold ingredients. Other few rows down was a manufacturing facility. So like there, we kind of were able to kind of talk shop and sort of see, oh yeah, I work with your
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, the thing that
Yeah.
you do in this capacity, in this parameter, and you don't really kind of see how after you're done sort of shipping something, how many other people it touch, or when they ship something to you that it even touches you. Ingredient companies don't even think about the label designer.
No. But at the same time, like you're still the guy putting their logo on the label.
It's very, very important.
There is a relationship there.
There is, you know? So it's important that those people like kind of know each other and at least have some sort of sense of common ground on how it works.
So 4 educational tracks, 8 different rooms. We're going to have setup going on in one and tear down, you know, whichever's going on while one show is going on. And whenever the switch happens, the next stage will go up.
So that's kind of like the Warped Tour thing you're going for.
Exactly. When I went to Warped Tour, I saw this and I was like, oh, this makes sense how they're set up side by side. So the show keeps going on the whole time.
Yeah, there's really no downtime. So what are the tracks?
So I don't have them pulled up, but we're covering a lot of subjects. So obviously my favorite is like ingredient innovation and sustainability and biodiversity. We've paired those together. We've actually paired marketing with legal because we feel like that's kind of important where, you know,
Those are like 2 people who hate each other that should love each other.
they really should. You know, legal's telling marketing what they can and cannot say, but marketing wants to say everything to everyone.
Yeah.
So, you know, and marketing comes in like a lot of different forms. It's not just like the copy that you put on your label, but it could also be like, you know, how do I create really good A+ content for Amazon? Or how do I reach, you know, a whole bunch of micro influencers on TikTok? And we're going to have experts in all these different fields. So we've got sales and distribution. That's a good little combo. And then we've got a manufacturing arm, which I believe is tied in with regulatory because they've got a little bit of overlap too. So manufacturing, like say if you're an NSF certified facility, and regulatory being like, well, here's the laws and everything, but also we're going to also combine the different types of certifications that you can get within regulatory because, you know, you have to be obeying the law in order to get the certifications. So those are pretty much the 4 tracks. And we've got experts from the entire industry in each one of those.
Distribution, sales. So yeah, I know you're talking to like a few distributors about, hey, how about you explain how this works? Because to a lot of people, it's kind of confusing on, yeah, you want to get distribution in all these different places, but like,
what are you going to do that on your own?
Yeah. How does it work? What is it that distributors want to see? What is it that stores want to see? And what type of like, what's the business relationship like? Like who's responsible for what?
Yeah. So with these different educational tracks, obviously we're not just talking to ingredient companies.
No, you're talking to brands, you're talking to R&D experts.
We're talking to buyers. We're talking, so like that's like the main chain of value where we've got vendors, we've got brands, and we've got buyers all in one place. And you got to kind of think of it like Expo West has that vibe where it's brands, buyers, and vendors all in the same place, but vendors really don't get a whole lot of shine. So because it's not as monstrously large as Expo West, that, you know, we're only 750 to 1,000 people, that those serendipitous connections can happen quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, a vendor could pitch an ingredient to a buyer who really doesn't give a shit about what they have to say, but then there could be a brand that's standing right there, third party, saying, you know, if this buyer's interested, I'll make the product.
Who cares? You're bumping into him on the lazy river saying, pass me another mojito, you know? Like,
yep. That's the kind of stuff we're trying to set up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we've also got, I guess, what I would call the 9th stage, which is the main stage, which some people call it keynote. I call it plenary. And I looked up the definition of plenary. Plenary is mandatory attendance by all attendees. So we're going to have a representative from each of the educational tracks, usually do like a 30-minute, you know, talk on this main stage. And we'll have it start the day. We'll have it end the day. And then you do the trade show floor, which there's going to be 3 different trade show floors that are open all day long while these educational tracks are going on.
They're decent sized rooms. I've gone and seen it. This is a legit conference building. Like it's
made for this.
It's built to the side of the resort, and it's decent size. It's gonna. Every time I go in, it's almost intimidating. It's like, man, you got to fill up this with people.
We're gonna
in booths.
We're fucking gonna.
Yeah.
But you know, there's just a lot to it. And, you know, I've learned that the hard way going through all this, as far as like all the different boxes you have to check and like scheduling all these speakers and making sure that that's going to work flawlessly, setting up all the vendors and all the different brands and stuff to where they're like in a patchwork, because like when I'm setting up a trade show floor, I don't want them to be separate. I don't want brands all to be in one room and then vendors all to be in another room, because I think that, you know, if I'm a brand, that an ingredient vendor being next to me would be kind of cool. Maybe I don't work with them. Maybe I just want to meet my neighbor and see if something can happen there. We want to set this up intentionally for a lot of things just to happen and come out of this summit.
Just some magic.
Yeah. Oh, and
where does labeling and packaging fall in?
I would think that comes under marketing.
Okay. Because I really wanted to do a track.
Oh, you're going to do one.
I wanted to like live design a label, but have the audience give the ideas.
Oh, I think that'd be great.
Like just instead of like a PowerPoint, it's like, let's blow this whole thing up and I'll link it to my computer or maybe someone that works there.
Are you going to bring a laptop?
I don't know how I'm going to make it work.
Have to get
yet.
a new laptop.
I have to figure out how it works. Maybe I'll have Keely do the design and I'll do the talking while she's doing the design. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then be like, hey, you know, like what flavor is it? And then like, you know, it's almost like a whose line is it anyways? You know, you like go out in the crowd and whoever gives the most ridiculous answer, like that's the one we're going with.
Yeah.
Like banana peanut butter pina colada. Fuck it, we'll go with it.
Wow, that might not be bad.
You know, or like what I really would like is if somebody from like the R&D track, somebody who'd be doing something like that, if they could do an innovative, interactive type of speech where they put together a product. And then we use that actually as the product that we make the label for.
That's the thought.
Yeah. Like,
so that would be cool where the product travels from track to track,
yes,
to track to track. And hopefully by the end of the show, you have a finished product.
Yes. So you can sort of see the whole process in real time, and it'll be all kinds of funked up. because, it's hard to do that in 3 days. But
We'll have like flavor companies there and like raw material suppliers. So like hopefully we can
get them
scavenge together everything.
Yeah, and put it together. And we could always bring it back to your place and blend it or something. Or
I mean, everyone's going to have samples there anyway.
there's manufacturers in Houston. Maybe we could send them to them and see if they can package something
How are you
up.
going to get a label that fast?
Oh, I'm sure we could find someone who'd be interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know a couple of guys.
A couple guys. You don't necessarily even have to have a finished label if you don't. I mean, it'd be really cool, but it's not like you have to have one.
Yeah.
But you could make like a, almost like a, what do you call it? Like a jungle juice, sort of.
Like a mixture of everything, like a suicide.
Yeah. And just make a giant vat of it and have everybody try it. Like, we made this, all of us. It's like, oh God, this is terrible.
So anyway, like that's the gist of the show. But we're gonna do it up in a really big way.
Late September should still be pretty warm here in
early
Texas.
September.
Either way.
Yeah.
Early September should be warm here. So like it's the end of summer, but it'll still be hot in Texas, but you're on the lake.
And the lake's not absurdly cold either.
No.
It's really nice.
So it's actually a really nice time of year.
It's the perfect time of year for a show like
September, November, maybe arguably.
this. The only difference
March,
is the
April.
water's colder. November.
Yeah, it gets a little colder. But I don't think a lot of people are probably going to go in. But they'll definitely go on the boats and stuff.
Yeah.
You can rent boats. There's also like a giant boat, like a big yacht you can rent
We've
for
got
a party.
the mega houseboat, which we'll be doing an event on. There's also the tiki barge. There's also a pirate ship. I don't know how crazy we're going to get with any of that stuff.
I think you should do the Savage Pirate ship.
Have it pulled up to the dock. That would be something.
Yeah, but you have to cast somebody off.
They have a cannon too. But anyway, like this is something that we've mulled over. And if you're familiar with Margaritaville, like the tropical beachy kind of vibe that it's got.
Yeah, it's like Jimmy Buffett playing on repeat.
Not always Jimmy Buffett, but there's a lot of it. But it's a vibe. It's definitely a vibe. It's definitely a fun vibe.
Yeah,
definitely
Don't bring your blue blazer. Bring your.
The only suit you'll need is a swimsuit.
There you go. Don't bring your blue blazer.
Bring your blue blazer with your swim trunks on.
There you go. And
Yeah.
your Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna wrap this, but we're gonna talk about what you got going on next.
All right.
All right. We'll be back after a pee break. So like with FNIS, we're also I've put Price Plow in charge of the collabs because last year at Supply Side we had 2 foods and we had a beverage. We had the Creatine drink. Do you still have the Creatine here anywhere?
I think it's behind you.
Oh, you have them both. So, I guess this was 2024. We did Expo Energy, and it was a hit. There's literally some still floating around at the show at Supply Side Connect.
Really?
Yes.
See, I know that we made 50,000 labels,
It
but we
still
only.
hasn't died. I can't believe it's not dead yet.
Well, it's really freaking cool product. Tastes great too.
I think Expo Energy was way better than Creatine, for the record. Creatine can be done better.
Yeah.
But it's more mainstream, natural this time around. So we had NNA and then we had natural. But we officially got the Supply Side logo on this one for 2025 when they changed their name to Supply Side Global. But then we also did 2 food products. We did the Skinny Bites, which were like GLP-1 centric, cakes. And then we did the Longevispheres, which were pretty cool. And they were multi-layered. So like there was an enrobing layer, there was a cake layer, there's a cream filling or like a jelly filling that was in on each of these cakes. And there was just functions on every single bit of it. It's like it was a very multifaceted formulation in a food product. Probably not legal by today's standards because there are some laws when it comes to ingredients being generally recognized as safe for supplements versus foods and beverages. And that line is starting to get blurred a lot more these days. So I think we're going to have like 5 or 6 different collab products in all kinds of different areas this year. It's on those guys to get them all set up. I'll have a little bit of input, and we want to have Expo Energy 2.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
Hell yeah.
It won't have as many words in the can because I think people get it.
Yeah.
But now, it'll be a slightly different formula, probably a little bit more commercializable, with a sick new label. That'll obviously be up to you.
This is all new to me.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Okay.
You're going to be a daddy again.
Great.
But yeah, like collabs, that's definitely something that we've been known for. And like, if you look on the side of like any of these cans, like it shows all the different people that were involved in. There's big names involved in all these, like, you know, NNB, Nutriscience, Glanbia, ADM, you know, Macro Caps on here, you know, and then all the different brands. We got Ketone Labs, we got Kia Oaxaca, we got TSI, like a lot of big name people were involved in a lot of these things. And we're going to probably have a lot of these guys at the show, and maybe they'll be doing collabs again.
Yeah. I'd like to do one with that duckweed Limna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That guy we had on. Yadu?
Yadu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Something innovative in greens.
I don't know. It's just an idea.
Yeah. So you've been cooking on another animal that's not a unicorn.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And Nutrimedia has been the unicorn for how many years now?
5 years, I think.
5 years of branding, labeling, and that kind of thing. But this new animal is what?
It's a narwhal.
It's on brand with your horned animals.
Yeah, it's just as unique. It's just as mythical, other than the fact that narwhals are real.
Yeah.
But they're just as rare.
Can't find them really unless you're in the poles.
Hard to
I think
find.
they're North Pole only.
But you know, narwhals are big.
Yeah.
They're a whale. I mean, they're not huge whales. They're bigger whales, but they're still a whale.
Yeah.
And I like that idea.
I believe they're cetaceans like dolphins and belugas.
Yeah, it's a rare whale. And so I want to make a rare whale of a business now that we have a rare horse of a business. You know, Nutrimedia feels like kind of a one of a kind in what we do. It's very niche. It's very boutique. And it services a very, you know, specific segment of people.
But it's one piece of a larger puzzle.
One piece of a larger puzzle. And it's hard to find. And it is powerful. And it's colorful. And it's fun, you know? So NutriPack, which is what I'm calling the packaging business, is same theme, right? Boutique, serves a special purpose, is meant to help be of a service that is hard to find, that is hard to get, and requires extreme expertise in something that a lot of people probably don't go down that rabbit hole of. But it's a whale. It's bigger. It requires more. It has more scalability. It has more impact, I think.
And you are making?
We're making packaging.
Mostly what we got right here.
Plastics, yeah. So, you know, when we went to India, I kind of had this revelation. I'd already started.
Before India, like...
Yeah, I'd been cooking it, of this idea of... at first, I wanted it to sort of be like a subservice of Nutrimedia. Hey, we'll help other people with their plastics. But then I kind of realized that it needs to be its own thing.
Yeah.
It needs its own team. It needs its own capital investment. It needs its own focus. And it has an opportunity to scale and really help a lot of people solve a problem that they have that's really unique, which is packaging. You know, right now, most people, they're only able to get their hands on a couple of options when it comes to packaging. And most of them, they never even think about it really until it comes to the point in time when they have to put the label on it. And then I ask them the question, like, what tub are you using? You know?
Yeah.
And
give me the dye lines, like...
Yeah, the basic technical aspects. And a lot of times it's like, oh, well, my co-man has it. Let me get back to you. I get that a lot. Or it's like, yeah, I know which one it's going in. And then I ask them more specifics and they're like, oh, I don't actually know that.
Yeah, or they don't have their formula even done and they have no idea how much space it's going to take up.
That happens 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And so now I've become a pseudo consultant for them to be like, oh, well, I think it'll fit bit well in this one. Let's try this, blah, 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 blah. And then you go down the pathway of options of like, well, what can you get? And then you're really limited by sort of, oh, well, my co-man's got it. It's like a turnkey thing. And that's all good and all. But co-mans usually, this is the way it works. Like they'll usually buy in stock in their warehouses things that they can readily get quickly and inexpensively.
So let's start here.
Yep.
These are black.
They're black.
And what are these different sizes.
Well, so these first two are actually the exact same size.
Who's the brand you did this for?
It's Level Up.
I haven't even looked at these formulas.
Those are peptides.
It's not peptides. It's a liver health product.
Well, they do both.
Okay.
The KPV is.
Okay.
So they have two different. They have Level Up Labs and Level Up Health. So Level Up Health is like their supplement line. Level Up Labs is like their.
Like lysyl prolyl valine, I guess KPV.
They got BPC.
That's lactoferrin.
Yeah. No, they got.
Technically a.
Look at his formulas. They're really
protein.
good. Like they're kick ass. His stuff is not inexpensive at all. It is very luxurious.
Oh, this does have it in there. Lysine proline valine. Yeah. KPV.
Yeah. His is it's amazing, and he's really doing it big. He's making sure he's getting testing done on everything. He's getting specification sheets made on everything. He's making sure that his co-mans are all in step.
This is one of the few peptides that are orally bioavailable, other than like BPC and TB.
Yeah, he knows all that stuff. So they're based out of Australia, and they sell all over the world, but like the guy who owns it's in Australia, and he's a really cool dude. And he called me up one day, and the first thing we talked about was like, yeah, we want to do a rebrand, a new look. We looked at his old packaging, and he's using like the sort of standard, 200cc white neck.
Yeah, with the rounded edges and everything.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't like it. He's like, I'd really like to look at some other stuff. Oh, here we have. That's one.
Yeah, this is the original.
Yeah, that's the original. So that's the rebrand and sort of the old look. And it's been quite a process getting that to happen. So like really shout out to that guy, Kyle, if you're listening. Can
I have this? This looks good.
Dude, his stuff is amazing. It's very premium. He prices it that way too. He's got a great product.
It's got dihydroberberine in here and a cognition product.
Dude, he has some wild shit. All of his products are that way. Which makes it kind of challenging to put on a label because it's a lot of stuff on a little bitty label.
I can see that.
Well, anyways, he was like, I would really like to do some custom packaging, and I was like, well, I know some people, we can help you get this stuff. And around that time, I had started talking to some plastics facilities and just was like, hey, what can you make? What can't you make? How much is a mold? What can I get made, and how many of them can I get made? I was like going down that process that everyone asks, right? Like
the mold is usually like the multi-$1,000 barrier that most people aren't willing to stomach.
Yeah, and honestly, like that is the low barrier entry. It's just the process of getting it made in mass, and then getting it shipped over, which like really complicates things.
So that's one of the things I wanted to touch on. Like doing this has like exposed you to this whole new set of skills that you've had to acquire.
Yeah, and it's been challenging, I'm not going to lie. But I'm also fascinated by it at the same time. So I'm like really hyper, like torqued on it.
Yeah.
And like molds can be really expensive, but there's also ways to make them more economical. And it all kind of goes around like your strategy, which is really what we did is we tried to make common sizes. We just tried to perfect them and make them better. We were like, what sucks about a lot of these? Because there's a lot of things about bottles that sometimes suck. Sometimes it's the quality of the plastic. Sometimes the fact that people were sourcing a different tub that doesn't match the lid. And even though it may fit, it doesn't match in finish or color, even when it's supposed to. Sometimes they can't customize things like colors. And then also co-mans tend to just kind of source whatever they can get their hands on, which
Blacks
means
and whites.
And usually in black and white, but like they have different bezels on them. They have different roundovers on them. The label size dimension changes based off of that parameter.
You wanted to maximize your real estate for a label.
Yeah. Well, I also wanted to know. So again, like
how much can I maximize it?
Not just that, like, hey, what is your label size? And then people look at you like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So now I can say,
this is your label size.
This is your label size. I've gone and made.
Well, I mean, just like we were finding holes with like the whole trademarked ingredient and the putting their logos and stuff on, like you found all the different holes in the packaging side.
Yes. Yeah. So like a lot of times people would call me, we would source their labels for them, and they would be like, not a lot of times, but a few times they've been like, oh, well, it's starting to bubble or crinkle up and it's having a hard time applying. And then they immediately say it's the label's fault, because the adhesive is bad or something like that. And then you start asking questions, and then you start realizing really quick that there are a lot of variables that they're just simply not considering as to why maybe something on the application process is wrong.
Yeah.
So sometimes, yeah, it could be if the labels are stored in a high humidity or high heat environment, which happens during shipping, usually if they're in a truck or something like that.
But I mean, like things like this, these had to be on refrigerated trucks.
Yeah, exactly, because the seams will start to act. There's no adhesive on them, but they'll start to shrink a little. And if they start to shrink a little on shrinks, that changes how they get applied. Same thing on the label. When a bottle goes down a track and then gets applied to the label, if the bottle is too flimsy, it compresses as it goes towards that track. And then as the label hits it, it kind of squeezes it, And then during that sort of squeeze, it wraps around and rolls around the label. And if it's a flimsy
And then you've
label,
got a bubble.
it creates creases and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you had thicker walls?
So we add thicker walls. Simple as that. Just make it feel a little bit sturdier. Really, it's basically just adding a couple gram weight to the formula. It's as simple as that. Really, most of the providers that provide plastics, this is a way for them to shave a couple pennies off so that honestly they can make more money. They don't ever discount that amount to the customer. Like the big players in the game now today are marking up what I've learned an egregious amount.
Yeah.
Like if you actually knew what they pay for these things and what they're charging for them, you'd be like, holy shit. They're literally ripping everyone off, not just by a little bit, by a lot of it. And so it's like, well, there's actually a lot of margin here.
Yeah.
So you could make a good bottle and that's better quality. You could even sell it for cheaper and still make more money. But it's like there's only a couple companies that really do this, so they've all just sort of agreed to monopolize on a stupid price, and people are just buying it.
And pretty much matching their competitor's price.
That's what they're doing.
If they're selling at this price, then I can sell it.
Yeah, because really, if you're buying bottles, you're really kind of buying them for like 4 places.
Yeah.
And if you want custom, go kick rocks.
So what sizes are we looking at right here?
So the first two are technically 8 ounce. They're both the same size. The only difference on the one that's behind you. So this one's actually a competitor. This is the one that's common that everyone knows that you buy it from. That one comes from China. Now the problem with China, if you're importing into America, is it's a high tariff. So although that's a great bottle and that's a great shape and it comes from a great quality company that a lot of people use, it has now become incredibly unaffordable.
One of the things I wanted to point out that I didn't even realize until you told me is this very minute size difference.
So we made our 8 and 10 ounces just a little bit thinner.
So they're not as wide.
They're 2 millimeters thinner.
They're exactly 2 millimeters thinner.
Yep. And I did that for a couple of reasons. First of all, I didn't just want to rip off some other company. So I wanted it to be different. And also, like, I think the taller looks a little bit sexier and also gives you a little bit more label real estate. Because like if you have a big formula, you're going to need that extra.
How many capsules can you fit in this 10?
180.
Really? Because I know at Glaxon we used the 13s, and I think 200 was the most that we were able to fit in the 13, and that's 3 ounces less.
So that 8 ounce where the KPV is right there.
Yeah.
The max that you'd probably want to put in there is 120. It can comfortably fit 60 about halfway. And so with cotton and like a desiccant, it's still passable. So anything like 60 to 120 is the sweet spot for the 80s. And then on the 10 ounces, which is slightly taller there, where you see on the liver complex there.
Yeah.
That sweet spot is like 120 to 150.
With the cotton and everything.
Yeah, you can fit technically 180 in it, but
then you wouldn't need cotton.
It would be pretty cramped. So we're going to do a 13 also.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. So that's already in the works. So we have a 16 ounce.
Why don't you do a 12 or a 14?
Sure.
I'm just saying.
We can call it.
To be different.
I don't even think that any of these companies actually, if you measure the volume, it's not really based off of volume of what it actually has. We're basing it off of just like a numerical scale of what we're calling it.
I want to point out a couple other things. Now, what kind of plastic is this so people at home can know?
That's HDPE, which is food grade and non-BPA.
So one of the things about the lids I think is kind of interesting, and the finish of the HDPE is it looks like soft touch.
HDPE is naturally matte, whereas PET is naturally glossy.
Yeah.
Right? In my experience, I think PET usually just feels a little bit more flimsy. And to me, it kind of just looks a little cheaper. Most of the brands that we work with like a lot of soft touch. So if we wanted to match the soft touch finish, the most natural way to do that without actually having to get soft touch bottles is choose HDPE.
Well, and there's something about the mold on these too, because
Our molds have a special treatment on them.
yeah, like a grit to it, almost like, a fine sandpaper or something like that.
Yeah, so
To where it creates that.
we
kind
have
of
what's
look.
called a matte mold, and
Yeah.
they cost more money in order to get them made. But essentially, it gives them more of a soft touch matted finish to them. So they match the HDPE more seamlessly. It looks more soft touch. It looks more matted. It's not technically soft touch, but it looks that way from the shelf.
Can you tell people self-touch might be banned in the next couple of years?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be banned or not, but I do know that it's having some issues.
Environmental impacts.
Yeah. So soft touch, from what I understand, and I'm going to go to China and learn more about it, hopefully later this year. It's really only done in China, and the reason why it's only done in China is because it's very environmentally hazardous. It's a secondary coating process where they essentially spray it, kind of like think of a
Spray paint.
And it gets in the air.
So not all of it really gets used.
I don't know. I don't know exactly how it works, but I do know that the Chinese government, with the people that have been using it and applying it, have kind of given some pushback to the companies that are doing it and saying that they need to come up with a different solution. So that means either soft touch is going to get more expensive or it's going to become a little bit more obsolete. I don't think it's going to become obsolete. I think it's going to just get more expensive, or they find innovation that fixes it.
I wanted to show off this silver. Now we're starting to get into color customization. And this is a very hot orange.
Yes.
And I hope that is, if this camera's catching any of this. I'm putting it in my direct line of fire. Okay, cool. So really you can see that soft touch kind of effect on this silver lid probably the most.
It's like brushed, yeah.
So not only can you do colors, there is an inclusion of some metal flake in this.
Yeah. That's how you get that silver.
So you can do metallics and you can put different grits of metal flake.
Yeah. Yeah, you can actually customize quite a bit. We can't do chrome, but we can do that brushed metallic.
I just like the idea of a chunky metal flake, like a boat from the 1980s.
Yeah, you can actually increase that too. So yeah, that's all done on the color additive.
Yeah.
So the way that you get these tubs is essentially they melt down plastic pellets, and then those plastic pellets get put into a mold based off of a gram weight. That gram weight dictates kind of how expensive and how sturdy the plastic is. So they can add different color hues to create metallic flake and stuff like that. But like the orange there, that's just the straight orange from a Pantone selected for that particular orange to get that type of color. But what I did
you can
notice,
select any fucking Pantone.
any Pantone, you can make any custom color, and you can actually change the opacity of it. So you can make it a little bit more transparent. You can make it less.
So I'm going to keep pulling these out because I'm going to save the wildest ones for last.
Yeah.
This is a pretty vibrant blue.
It's popping.
It's a poppin' blue.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was pleasantly surprised
I'm
on
gonna
how
swap
vibrant the colors they can get.
I'm going to swap it for this because when you have a vibrant blue and you have a dark blue like this, you got Dallas Cowboys kind of blue there on the top. But what team would you say is this blue? Is this Indianapolis?
Yeah. You can even argue maybe Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Probably closer to Tennessee Titans. But I mean, this is getting into that cyan spectrum. So you're just like flavors, be like, I want a strawberry flavor, but people don't realize there's a whole spectrum. There's a juicy strawberry, a seedy strawberry, a candy strawberry, a strawberry ice cream, kind of creamy strawberry. Same thing with colors. Mm-hmm. You've got your dark navies. You got this sky blue right here. I think this one over here is probably another iteration of that same navy color.
Yeah, that's going to match. So there is a matching blue that goes to both of these.
Yeah. But there's a spectrum, a very big spectrum. You think your Roy G. Biv and spectrum of colors, there's spectrums within those spectrums of all these different blues.
John McDowell said something to me that's always stuck with me. And he said that the most effective way in order to think about branding is first by shape, size, color.
Yeah.
And those are really the first things you should go to when, and then also form a function. Yeah. So when you're thinking about packaging, when you're thinking about branding, people always like to think of the art, right? They like to think of the pixels.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we thought of with this.
Yeah. But fundamentally, owning a color is so much more powerful. I mean, look what C4's done with yellow.
How about Coca-Cola with red?
Right. It's synonymous with the brand. So having a color synonymous with your brand is such a more powerful way to establish a brand identity than, any monkey or other, vector art character.
Mascot, whatever. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you think of McDonald's, Ronald McDonald isn't really around anymore.
No.
But the golden arches, the yellow and the red will be forever.
But you have these things. You're wondering what brands of the future are going to try to own these. Like what kind of a land grab is going to happen? Like, oh, I want this color. This is my color.
What's the greater part about being on the design side is we can help fundamentally sort of come up with that.
Like your brand identity and that color being associated together.
Or a particular product or a particular flavor, like you were saying.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways you can swing it, but right now, basically everyone's designing around the idea of black and white. Maybe a custom lid color.
I'll bring out this 10-ounce red.
That's 8.
Oh, this is 8? Okay.
Yeah, 10 is the orange one.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Mm-hmm. All right. So how big is the blue one?
55. So the 55 is a one of a kind. That's very unique. So go and grab that NutriBio tub over there behind you.
Unicorn fell through the floor. This one?
Yeah. So what I don't like about the 55s is they put all this decorative stuff on it, like this,
unnecessary.
To me, we thought it had to do with structure, integrity. And while we were doing all this R&D and trying to figure out, like, why would they put this bell on it? Why would they put this collar on it? Why is this little bottom sort of lip on it? And there are sort of I found there are some small reasons, but those reasons are kind of like insignificant.
They're like crown molding in your house.
Yeah. And a lot of it ends up being, well, it was decorative. And then that's just kind of what the industry stuck with. And they just kept going with this look. And I'm like, well, I really don't like this bell shape here. I wish it was just perfectly straight all the way up. I think that's a sexier silhouette.
You mean to tell me that the inspo for this tub came from this tub?
Yes.
They're pretty well the same size. Will this lid fit on this tub?
Yes.
Oh. So you mean to tell me, like, even if you just wanted the lids.
Put that black one on there and look how much better it looks.
Oh, this, okay.
Put that black matte, so that's the matte mold. Put that on that next to that HDPE. Whereas the other one, they're using a glossed PPE. And just look how much more premium it immediately looks.
I hope the NutriBio guys are watching.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, that lid costs the exact same. They're probably actually paying for more for that lid.
It might be the same lid they use on their proteins, maybe.
It is, but you can still do the same thing with this. Take that lid and put it on their protein back there. Actually, I already have one over there. It looks so good. It looks so good.
Ed's going to go get that.
Yeah. So that 120 matte molded lid, yeah, look at the difference in the two.
I would buy this one more.
It just looks so much better.
Versus this glossy thing with the lip on it.
Do you see how the two finishes don't technically match?
No, not
one
at
is
all.
glossy, one is kind of HDPE matted.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's like this one belongs, this one does not.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to do a lot of that here today.
Yeah. So that was just one thing. It was like, how do we make these more elegant? How do we make them more sexy? How do we make them make more sense? How do we make them?
But you were also talking about like
cost-effective?
the finish on like this right here.
Yeah.
And like this protein tub obviously has this lip around the neck, but I think you can see it better on this 55 ounce. Mm-hmm. How it is made to look like a straight cylinder, and how this comes down, really close to the bottom of the collar of this tub here.
Yeah, those tubs are made to that lid, so it has the tightest fit that we could possibly get.
Couldn't go a millimeter tighter.
We would have to do a lot of, so essentially we would have to get it made, that mold made in an injection blow mold.
Oh yeah,
which is about 5 times more expensive. And the plastics facility that they're making this at basically says the only way we would ever invest in that is if we dedicate a line specifically for that one thing that you're making, and that thing's going to run around the clock, basically 3 shifts, 24/7. That means that we would be making millions upon millions of those. And I just don't have a customer for that.
Not yet.
No. So hopefully we
you
get to
also
one.
increase the real estate on this bottom part for label.
That was one of the other. See, look at that one. It kind of comes up like half an inch.
Yeah. Like when you compare these two, where, first of all, when on a label for label real estate thing,
we've given you about an inch.
yeah, where you're not stuck here and you're not stuck here because of this bottom thing, and you get that much more real estate.
Yeah. And there's more structure. There's more plastic in it. It's not as bendy. It just feels
Yeah.
more
It doesn't
solid.
give as much.
Yeah. Simple little things like that. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it's just improving something that people just kind of never really paid attention to or cared. And what happened is a lot of these plastic companies found ways to basically shave cost off to make more money and not really actually decrease the price.
I mean, it's still filling up a container the same amount.
Yeah. Which that's a whole nother thing that's complicated.
Container shipping.
Yes.
So do you think I don't know, do you have a brand in mind for this navy blue? Because you got a lot of this.
That's it right there.
Oh, this is the brand
We made that for that.
for this product. Revolution.
That actually is going to go on a 25, but
yeah, you can tell because there's a lot of space.
right. But yeah.
But it would go in this tub.
He has a pre-workout coming out that's going to go in that. Yeah.
So I'm going to navy this thing.
So that actual label right there, Joey, we short ran it as a stopgap on blue because it took us about 55, 60 days to get on water to get those tubs to us.
Yeah.
And he wanted to launch them sooner. So we made a label that would match a black tub for the time being because he wasn't able to get blue
Okay.
in the United States. So this label is actually made for the black tub, but
But it's got a lot of blue elements on it.
we've reversed it. So the reverse of the gradient that's on it now gradiates to blue on the edges and the black is in the middle.
Okay.
So it's more seamless looking when it hits the edge, but that particular label was made for a black tub. So we're actually making the labels for the tub so that they match. It's the same Pantone color.
All right. And as these keep going, did I already show the red one? Yeah, I already showed the red one. I mean, the green one's pretty nice.
The green one pops. It's like a lime green.
This is definitely your Seattle Seahawks kind of contrast.
Yeah.
And
It's hot.
like, I mean, you want to make like products for professional sports teams.
I think they should do professional sports teams branded creatine. NSF. NSF.
With that orange one, you could definitely do like Denver Broncos with one of these navy lids.
Yeah, we should hook it up with the NFL and they should have their own
Everyone gets their own pre-workout.
NSF certified sport team branded creatine.
I was most captivated by this one when we were in India. Yellow.
Yeah, so we have matching lids on the way.
That's almost like the same yellow as like this monster right here.
It is vibrantly yellow.
Yeah.
It is neon yellow. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when I first saw that. I was like, wow. I did not expect it to be that eye-catching.
That bold.
Yeah, and when we put a yellow label on that on the shelf with a matching yellow lid, it's going to scream. It's going to scream. I can't wait for somebody to to pick up that yellow. And actually, I've got a plan for something that's going to go in that yellow. I've already been working on. We'll see if it happens.
In the rumor mill.
Yeah, something in the rumor mill, but we'll see if it happens. We'll see if it shakes out or not. Yeah, so the plastics, it seems novel, but it is such a powerful branding tool. And there are so many things about sourcing your own plastics that's so complicated that most brands shy away from it because you like have to have a whole department of people to do it. You have to you have to have a certain person on staff who their whole job is the procurement and the R&D part of the plastics. And just most of these supplement brands just don't have the time, day, or care, and they just want to move faster.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is shore up the time frame. I've already talked about the cost. So the reason why we go to India for two reasons. The first reason why I first did it was because just looking towards the future, I know that the United States is going to have a better trade relationship with India long-term, probably than China. China is very volatile. So your tubs may cost X amount one day.
Our relationship with China is volatile.
Our relationship is. So yeah, so that means the tariff changes pretty frequently. So you may buy tubs in January. In March, the price could have tripled based off of the tariff. And there's no way to really plan a business around that.
Well, even outside of tariffs, like there's other foreign conflict stuff that has an influence on things.
Everything, yeah. Because I mean, it's affected everyone, right? Just shipping alone with the increase of oil. But think of how crazy expensive tubs are. The other day I went online and I saw a competitor selling this 25-ounce tub and lid for over $2.
Over $2.
And it doesn't matter the volume.
And that's because of shipping or because...
Yeah, that's their landed cost because they're getting it made elsewhere. And a lot of these, just so you guys know, guys, there's not a lot of plastics makers, actually. Most of them are glorified distribution companies.
Because they're getting it from somebody who's getting it from somebody who's getting it from somebody.
Usually it comes from overseas. There are a couple that do them here in the States, and shout out to them. They're great, but you're also paying the cost of it getting made in the States. So if that's something you want to go for it. But what I found is that the domestic makers have such large MOQs, it almost makes it, they're looking for whales. They are not interested in boutique startups, emerging brands that want to do, anything sub 100,000 units or do six-figure investments in the molds.
So what do you think you're going to do whenever you finally support like a small startup brand who does like this green right here and then they blow up?
Great. I make a lot of money for a long time.
You're still going to service them.
Yeah, I grow with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a narwhal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we grow with them. That's the plan. And it's a huge capital investment and risk on our side because when you have to make it overseas, it's not like somebody's going to buy that up front and then wait several months. That's kind of a difficult ask. Now, Kyle was nice enough to do that for his customs. He was patient enough to wait for him.
Yeah.
And even still, this war happened and it slowed things down for him, which was really frustrating for him. So what we're trying to do is create a system in which basically we're selling these off consignment here in the States by the time that they land here and just getting a free flow of inventory coming constantly from India. So the lids right now are made in China. We're going to shift them over to India soon. The complication with the lids isn't so much the mold or the injection or the shape or the color. That's all pretty simple stuff at this point because we have the technical drawings on them. It's the liners in China are better. So
couldn't you just buy liners?
You could, but then you'd have to ship them to India to get them installed so that they can get packed and then loaded, and then you wouldn't be saving any cost. You would just be just as expensive or more expensive than everyone else.
So you're going to have to find a liner guy.
We're looking for, right now we're making these in China, the lids, and we have really great liners. We went through maybe 20 different liners to pick the one that we wanted.
You're working with Jeff on this, and I know that he's had a lot of experience in
Jeff has been super
liners.
critical in helping make everything super legit and the quality on everything and making sure everything's accurate. And remember when we were in India, I was pleasantly surprised to see the partner that we're using has a quality protocol, a legitimate one.
They have an absurd quality protocol.
Right. Just as scrutinizing as any manufacturing should be, where they have retains.
Yeah. They
have a two-step quality process, a two-check process at every step. So there's two people that verify and sign off.
We met them.
Yeah. They measure for weight, they caliper for thickness, and then they scan for color. So whether you're making one or you're making 1 million, they should all be exactly the same, right? And there shouldn't any of them be sent that are defects.
Jeff is the one guy who taught me that sometimes there is just ever slight variability from tub to tub, but it's
there is. There's no way to not change that because the pigment of the color kind of.
It's less than 1 gram per unit.
Yeah, yeah. So there just like in anything, there's a variance of a variability of
there's variability
tolerance
in the weigh boats that I use in my lab to weigh out powders.
Yes.
So I have to, tear my scales every time I put a new boat on.
It's just like anything else. There's a plus minus 10% deviation of tolerance.
Always. Yeah.
So, but they have parameters for that, and those are built into their quality systems, which I was pleasantly surprised to get to learn about because I was just expecting to go and just some, crazy building where probably people weren't
I thought you were walking into a sweatshop.
That's what I thought I was walking into.
We got the documentary that's going to come out later this year about our whole trip to India.
You could eat off the floor at that place.
Yeah.
It was clean.
It was very clean.
And
they wouldn't allow you to wear your shoes inside of the manufacturing area.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not even going to risk that.
No, there's no possibility for contamination.
And then you'd still have to put on booties without shoes.
Yeah, it's a legitimate clean room.
Yeah.
That they make these in. If food grade, I thought it was cool that the place was powered by solar power. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
They have solar panels on the top of the roof. And they're like, over like 70% of this building is powered by solar energy.
And it's pretty sustainable.
I thought that was pretty incredible.
I was mind blown in the QA/QC lab at this plastics facility that there apparently is some guy somewhere in a factory making machines that test the amount of pressure you have to push on the top of a shampoo bottle in order to make it open so you can get shampoo out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a thing. Someone somewhere is making this machine to make money to sell to companies like this to test the amount of pressure that is just perfect enough to open your shampoo, but not just for anyone. Old ladies, children, men and women, doesn't matter how strong you are. It needs to be just the right amount of pressure to pop that top open.
The plastics place that is our partner is their main bag is shampoo and cosmetics, and their biggest
super glue.
In super glue we learned, but their biggest client is one of the biggest shampoo brands in the world.
They've got shampoo brands, they got super glue, they got motor oil, they do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So we're actually kind of new with nutraceuticals to them.
Yeah.
So they're pretty excited about like what it could be.
They showed us some of the sparkly metallics with colors like that they would do for motor oil, and that stuff was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it's not just neons, but I mean it's like it's go fucking imagine.
And
it.
just all the custom shapes you can do and you can make molds of is kind of wild. Now I've made sort of a standard set of sizes. Those are just kind of the
These
standards.
are just what people are used to.
Yeah, but we could customize them. We could put a gorilla face on it.
I've seen those in other countries.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Don't know if I will necessarily think
I don't agree with it either. I'm just saying
necessary.
You can put like a texture on it. If your brand has like slants or something, let's say, for example, this label here has these little textures of these little logos, or maybe even this level up right here. You know, you could put that embossed or debossed into the side of the container.
Yeah.
So you can add more branding effects to it if you want to. Now that's a different mold and that has a mold cost. And look, it takes about 45 days to make a mold.
Which really isn't that much time.
When you think about it, it really isn't. It's just most people want everything now. So
Well-
you have to temper people's expectations on the speed of things when you're going custom. The first time
There's two types of customers or people who are building brands in this industry. There are those people who will take their time to do it the right way, who don't necessarily care about 45 days for a mold or however many months that it takes on the water to get here, because they are planning everything perfectly to a T. And there are people who want it fast, who want it yesterday, who want to just get it out there and sell it because they're worried about some competitor.
and there's also a lot of like first time brands that they talk to their co-man and they're like, yeah, I can do it in 8 weeks. And you're like, dude, this ain't coming out for fucking 28 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, because you haven't even really started the R&D process yet.
And sometimes that R&D process takes a while.
That 8 weeks starts from the moment that you pay down the deposit for the actual production run and they have all of the materials sourced. That means all your R&D is done. It takes you 3 times longer just to get to that point. People never account for that time.
I have to explain this to customers and stuff all the time.
They never account for that time. So what I'm telling customers is like, if you're starting to talk with your co-man now and you're starting to talk about custom packaging now, we have time to do this because you're a lot further out than you think you are. But mostly people don't ever think about the bottle until it's like, oh, I paid for everything and now I'm 8 weeks out. And then it's like, well, there's no way I can get you a custom color in 8 weeks.
No.
Now we're going to do white and black on consignment. So we're just going to order several ships of those containers to come over. And so we'll have all these in white and black that people can buy once they get here in stock. But we have to keep those in stock, which keeps us basically having to be
Constantly churning
cash and getting it sold, which I think that's going to happen pretty organically. Like I have people call me and ask me for them like every single day. So once they start getting here, it's going to be no problem keeping those in stock. The custom colors is basically going to be on like a boutique level. Like we're going through the process of creating you a custom color. You don't have to make a mold now, so you don't have to wait 45 days because you can use one of ours. And we first test a color. So like that green, we may say we want to do green. We'll send them, hey, we want green. We may send them 4 or 5 colors and they'll make samples of those 4 or 5 colors. They'll ship them over here. We'll ship them out to the client. We all sit there and have a conversation about what green do we want.
Yeah.
They say, great. Then we have to get that same color bottle and match test it to the lid. So we have to get the lid maker in China to ship their greens to us and then their greens to the place in India, and then we all look at them, and there's actually a match test system. They call it light, standard, dark, which is like what it may look like in different shades of light. And then you try and make the best selection on both the lid and the tub and the Pantone pellet that they're using that matches. So when they're made in two different plants, you get the same color. So that takes about a month.
And there were matching lids for all of these when we were in India.
I don't know if there are matching lids for all those yet.
I remember holding them and being like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, especially this rad yellow one. Like we had a matching lid for this, and it was just like, you know, it was a sight to behold when we were like holding it. And then we started like changing the lids and stuff, and we're like, oh, this gets even better.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. It's all the possibilities and capabilities. Yeah, so it's complicated when it comes to those steps. And then after you determine your color, then you go into production, right?
Yeah.
It takes, anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds to make a bottle.
I wish we had the video footage so we could show them.
Yeah, you'll see it in the doc. It's almost done. I've been editing it. It's been a pain in the ass. It'll be out hopefully
into summer.
Yeah. I still got to send it in for polishing, but where was I getting at? It takes a while to do this. So first of all, it economically makes most sense for the best price to get a container's worth. Anything less than a container's worth, you're literally adding more. The shipping cost is going into the individual cost of goods sold for each individual article. Remember, these coming from two different places. So it's the same for lids as it is for tubs. Eventually, we're going to get them all to come in.
It's not possible that you get 2 or 3 custom jobs and like cobble your containers together.
That's the plan, and that's what we're doing for a couple people.
Yeah, if you've got the right amount of customers who are down for this, like I think that's the most competitive advantage that you have here is the level of customization.
Yeah, exactly.
Then.
And that'll allow us to come down on those MOQs.
There's so many times where it's like, oh, I wish I had this color tub, or I wish I, like this size or this kind of finish. You have that opportunity here.
We get it every day, dude. Every day. And, most people just think that's kind of a pipe dream after you tell them it takes this long, this is blah, 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 how much it costs. But really, if you do the math and you figure out how long it actually takes you to launch a product and how much money you actually spend in the plastic part, most people don't see that because their co-man doesn't give them that information. If you actually broke it down, it's the exact same. It's the same amount of time and it's the same amount of cost. But you could have gone custom all along if you had the foresight 16 weeks ago, 20 weeks before to start the process then.
There's so many times where I'll see a brand just completely write something off where they think it's too expensive without ever investigating whether or not it actually is.
Yeah. And I've done the investigating, and I could tell you guys, most of these white and black sellers, resellers, distributors are adding a massive margin on top of it. And they could come down probably over 70%. But that's what you're paying for the shit, for the Snickle Fritz. You're the dude going into your dealer to get the Snickle Fritz, and he's like, I'm going to overcharge this fool. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're all doing. That's what I've learned. You can get better plastics, and you can actually, there's enough margin in there to sell this at a very affordable, very competitive rate.
Surprisingly affordable.
Surprisingly affordable. You just have to be able
John McDowell
to go through the process with us, Or what we're trying to do is we get so big and we get so much money and so much volume rolling where all this stuff is just stock stateside. Hopefully in a year or two from now, that's where it is. And so it's like, I want the yellow, great.
I think it'll be there sooner than that.
We have it in stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the plan.
This is a lot.
Yeah, so I guess I could go into shipping and fees. I don't know if people care about that, but it's complicated.
But the different manufacturing processes, but I mean, we'll show that. In the
what we want to do is we want to give one price. Now, the price fluctuates because the price of shipping fluctuates literally every day.
Really, because the price of oil fluctuates every day.
Exactly.
It went down to less than $100 a barrel, when the Strait opened up, recently?
Today?
Oh, yeah. I guess that would be today.
Yeah. So, yeah, the shipping price really heavily affects kind of like that padding that everyone's putting on.
Well, and these are also petroleum products at the end of the day. It's petrochemical.
It's fractional.
Yeah.
The increase price of plastic on like that 8 ounce with the whole thing, maybe a penny.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. But you know what all these other people are telling them?
Oh, it's just blowing out the roof, and then you got to pay $2 for a 25 ounce now.
It's egregious, dude. It really is. When you actually go and look at it.
So it's a whole ruse.
Now on the bigger tubs, like proteins, we're not going to touch those because it does actually matter quite a bit because that's quite a bit more gram weight. Yeah. So you are talking about, like, let's say a protein, the increase has gone up like maybe 80 cents.
But not $2.
No. Actually, they're selling those for like $3 for those big ones now.
But once upon a time, like, weren't these like less than 50 cents?
Yeah.
And now they're over $2?
Right now, as of today, I think I'm selling that one for 52 cents, that 25 ounce.
Yeah.
For just the tub, not the lid. So for the tub and the lid, it's probably somewhere around $1.40, all completely landed. That's what it is today. If you go on like the big competitors, they're up around $2, close to that. The big, like the
There's
big
certain
ones.
people whose feathers you're ruffling by actually talking about these things.
Oh, I know.
I'm to them.
Hopefully they get pissed off after I get real big and buy me. Come on, dude.
But I think this is cool. I think this is like, you really need to see like this natural evolution of like NutriMedia now going into NutriPack, and
I want to clarify, it's a completely separate entity. As of today, I completely own NutriPack.
Let's think of it like mitosis, and all of a sudden there were two.
Yeah. I mean, it's a natural evolution. And it really only happened because of the demand need that I was receiving on a day-to-day basis. And what I was doing for a long time was offering this as like a consultant service completely for free.
Yeah.
I was just going and trying and helping people find cool packaging stuff, and then connecting them with people that they could source it from and then letting them handle all the money. And then I realized this is a service and I should be making money from this.
Yeah.
At least a little bit. And I think anyone could agree with that. It's a ton of work. Well, it's a massive amount. It's a full-time. It could be a full-time job.
Yeah, but it is a service to like help these people save a whole bunch of money too.
Yeah, because they don't know any better.
Save a whole bunch of money and get way better, hotter looking.
They just don't know any better. No one's willing to get on a flight and go to India, and we'll go into Pune and
breathe dirt for 3 days.
Yeah, and go
Yeah.
Drink like so much chai and eat so many freaking nuts. Like it was a whole experience, but like we're going to do the same thing in China too. And, long term, I think it'd be cool to make these here in the United States.
Yeah. I think that would be really cool.
And that's a whole nother can of worms to figure out. But first I need to figure it out and scale it, which I'm excited to do.
I think the cool thing you're doing is you're letting people know that they have options.
Yeah. They just simply don't know. So like I said, the big tubs we're not going to worry about. Mostly that's because you're just shipping a lot of air, and the economics of shipping that much air, you really have to like charge a lot in order to bring those big tubs from overseas and make it like worthwhile, because it's all in the shipping. You're just losing money in that loose air that you're shipping over.
So how do people contact you about this?
Nutripack.co.
You got a website up now?
Yeah, taylor.knox@nutripack.co.
I haven't seen this website.
Yeah. Ed propped it up real quick because I needed it for trademarking and stuff. Hopefully we're going to have a website that's integrated where you can make purchases directly from it, from our stock.
Yeah.
And
they don't even have to talk to you?
Well, no, I want them to. But,
okay.
But yeah, if somebody wants to just have a seamless, that's what I see long term. And I also want to integrate our ERP that actually like fulfills the service of letting people know where it's at as far as like tracking and all that stuff.
Live tracking via satellite.
Now you can't really track boats that way. It's kind of complicated.
You're figuring it out though.
Yeah, there's ways to kind of know where it's at so you can give a timeline, but it's challenging right now. But really what I hope to do is once we have that website up and running and people are purchasing, they're probably purchasing stock that's actually warehoused here on the United States soil.
Yeah.
And everything else, so they can get it within like a week. But everything else that's custom, it's anywhere from I would say 60 to 90 day process.
That'd be cool if you actually had a live tracker of what was on the water in all the different colors and people would just bid. I want those blues. I want those yellows.
I mean, that's kind of like how it's working right now.
Yeah.
When you go to these other plastic suppliers, when you're buying stuff, sometimes you're buying stuff that's on water. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
They're not telling you. They'll take your money and then they'll tell you, it'll be here in 2-3 weeks. That happens a lot. I did that a couple weeks ago. I bought some plastics from this company, and they said it was in stock, and then they said, "Oh, it's actually out of stock, but it'll be here in 3 weeks." I'm like, "Oh, so it's on water."
It was never in stock. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do that shit. So what I want to do is kind of bring a little bit more transparency to that. Kind of like you're trying to do with the ingredients. I kind of want to just give a service that says, this is what it is. And if you appreciate transparency, then we'll be friends. If you're just going to try and say, where's my plastics, Plastic Monkey? You can go buy that 10X stuff from the competitor all day. Be my guest buddy. You're just getting ripped off. You can do that. I'm okay with that.
So, what?
So yeah, if you're interested, hit me up. We can put together a plan for you, for people that are listening, and see if it works for you and your brand at your quantities. Because again, it all matters really kind of how you're shipping it and putting it all together.
Will you be showcasing this at the Future Nutra Innovation Summit?
Yeah, so I got a plan for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
you do.
My booth is going to be sick.
Is it going to be built out of tubs?
Yes.
It'll look like Legos.
Yeah, and I want to do some custom signage that's mounted in it. So like the neon lights and stuff. I think they look cool.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah.
And if you are a packaging supplier, a brand, a vendor of sorts, or a buyer for a certain retail chain, or maybe you're just a buyer for your store and you want to go see what is like the newest and hottest and coolest stuff that's coming to our industry and have an appreciation for transparency and quality, you too are welcome to come to the Future Nutra Innovation Summit. And you can check that out by going to futurenutra.org/FNIS. And you can register today.
I almost didn't want to open up this can of worms because that's like what Level Up was really banking on RFK.
There's a lot of people that are. I had a meeting earlier today with a doctor who is banking on RFK.
Yeah. I mean, gambling, really.
Well, here's the thing. Like there's another person in the group who's like, well, I heard FDA is going to make all that illegal. Like that's literally what he said to this guy who's like making his money being a peptide doctor. And I was like, actually, it's the other way around, buddy. And he's like, what? And the doctor agreed with me. He's actually RFK is talking about rescheduling these from category 2 to category 1, and that would make it available for all compounding pharmacies to start using this stuff. I have a lot of thoughts about this because, this is I love the concept of bodily autonomy. That is one of the things that I think should be a civil right and should be absolute. If you want to fuck around and find out with any kind of chemical substance that exists on this planet, and that's not just peptides, like bodily autonomy translates to getting tattoos or piercings or an abortion or not getting a vaccine, or if you want to take all kinds of crazy different drugs, like, my sister has a really good plan for when she retires and she's really old and she can't do anything. She's going to try all the drugs. And I think that's a great idea.
Why not just now?
Well, because you can fuck your life up. Wouldn't you rather like set your life up and then be like, all right, now that I've got all this money and everything and, I've got decent health, I'm going to go try the drugs now that I don't have a job or anything. But I think people should have that right. And I think that.
I think with the right information and warning.
Yeah, informed consent of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So be like, here's what it is, here's what it does, here are the potential side effects, here's how long you can do this safely, here's how to do this safely, here's the potential downsides.
Which is like kind of what they do with the drug commercials, but they say them real fast in tiny little lettering.
They
don't do a very good job of
they
adding
don't.
Transparency to that.
And you have to like go into online forums to find out, the real deal of what's really going on. And I think, being with informed consumption, I think bodily autonomy should be absolute. It touches subjects on both sides of the aisle, and both sides of the aisle want bodily autonomy for different reasons. And I think it's a good thing. I think, you should be able to consume all these things with proper dosing and safety and all this other stuff with that in mind.
Now we're finally like...
It doesn't mean they're dietary supplements. I do want to make that clear.
That's what makes testing on that and creating specification sheets on that really difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been going through that. It's taken a long time.
That's another huge hole in the QA/QC of the peptide market, because unless you're doing mass spectroscopy, which most labs don't do, especially finding it in a matrix of a whole bunch of other shit like that, like it's one of those things where the testing is expensive, the equipment to test it is expensive, to look for specific like.
What about the single ingredient itself as a C of A? You get a standardization on that
What do you mean?
before it goes into the blend.
I mean, that's called QBI, quantitative by input.
Okay.
That's where you've sent it off to a third-party lab and it tested out and it did fine, and then you do QBI, because that's the only way that you're ever going to be able to account for it is by, like, Billy Bob weighed this amount, it tested out right at the third-party lab, and he put it in here, and that's on the batch manufacturing record. But finding it in a matrix of other things gets increasingly difficult. And like Pepti Strong is a really good example. They sell it as a peptide network, quote unquote, but there's really two peptides within Pepti Strong's peptide network that really do all the legwork. You're never going to really be able to fully, quantify that because it's mixed in with all the other peptides. And, there's a couple amino acids, like anything that's got a tertiary amine in it that might make it to where you can pull it out. So things that contain histidine would be stuff that you can probably suss out of a matrix. But right now, like the only way that you can really test for that stuff is just by doing like protein analysis, which really just counts for all the nitrogen in it. So it's kind of a mess right now. And those are other ways that we have to step up as an industry to come out with standardizations for testing for peptides and all these other
I think
things.
that's the problem that probably we have with peptides right now is like how it tests out and how you standardize it and how you label that.
KPV is small. Like on the front end, you're 100% right. You can figure this one out in isolation, but not in a matrix. Or maybe you can. I don't know. Like I'm sure there's an HPLC method where you could probably quantify this because it's only 3 amino acids. It's incredibly small.
Yeah.
I mean, think of like carnosine, which is a natural dipeptide.
But even then, there's all these decisions that need to be made on how you label it and how you.
There does need to probably be some policy reform on peptides.
Because I got a lot of people coming to me these days for wanting peptides on labels, and I'm like, look, I don't really know the rules all around this because I don't think there are any, other than they're not supposed to be a supplement. I know that.
Do you know why it's called KPV?
No.
So amino acids have a 3-letter code, which usually is like the first 3 letters of the name. So in this one,
What does that do?
I don't know. I only heard about it earlier in a meeting today. It was the first time I heard of KPV. This is the second time I've heard of it in my life, and it's happened on the same day.
Okay, well, go on.
So amino acids have a 3-letter code, and it would be lysine would be LYS, proline would be PRO, and then valine would be VAL, val, prol, and lys. Okay. But then they have single letter codes, which, are a shortened version of that. And the reason why lysine is K instead of L is because leucine took the letter L, because leucine alphabetically is first in the list as you're going through the L's of amino acids. Leucine, lysine. Lysine's the second one. So since there are no amino acids that start with the letter K, it's the next letter in the alphabet. So lysine became K instead of L because leucine had already taken that. The only P amino acid is proline, and the only V amino acid is valine. And that's why they get as their single letter codes. Another weird one is phenylalanine, which starts with P, just like proline does, but PH makes what kind of sound?
F.
So its single letter code is F.
I love the logic behind all this.
It's kind of stupid. Yeah. So there's the T, which is for threonine, but then you also have tyrosine and tryptophan. So what letters are they?
Well, TH, I guess, is that why they're that? Because it's TH in the alphabet?
Well, which comes before TY and TR.
Yeah.
So the single letter codes for tyrosine is Y because it's the second letter, and it makes the strong Y sound.
Yeah.
Tryptophan, you're gonna love this one.
It's not R?
No,
And it's not. Okay, so it can't be T, it can't be R, it can't be P, and it can't be T. O? Is it O?
no, it's W.
They just said, "Fuck, we gotta come up with a letter for this one."
Because it's like saying tryptophan.
Shut up.
I'm not joking. So here's a little bit of amino acid trivia for you. So like GHKCU, that's another peptide, GHK, which is glycine, histidine, and K. We already found that. That's lysine. And Cu is copper. So it's those 3 amino acids with copper in an ionic bond there. And that's what you're dealing with.
Oh, he has a GHK.
Yeah.
He's coming out one.
So anyway.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah. Let's wrap this thing up.
You don't want to do it's bullshit? Nope. Got nothing? Nothing? Okay. All
Not
right.
for today.
Let's wrap it up then.
All right. Go to NutriPack.co for all your plastic needs. If you want anything customized, it looks better than anybody else, and you got a little bit of time and a little bit of patience because you want to build a brand that works, go to NutriPack.co and check it out.
And if you're interested in the FNIS conference, which you should be, go and check out the, Future Nutri Foundation back.com/FNIS.
No, we're a nonprofit.
.org.
Futurenutri.org.
Futurenutri.org/FNIS.
All right. We'll see you guys next time with the Suppworks Podcast.